Hello, this is Mr. Molo for lesson 1-2, solving multi-step equations. So section 1 was just simple equations, one-step equations. Now we get into some multi-steps. So we're going to look at a couple of these, and these are actually the harder ones of the problem. So if you can do these, then you should be good. So we have a triangle here, and I know a triangle equals 180 degrees. Over here I have 30 plus x, and then I have a 30. And then I have a 9x. So when we're solving multi-step equations, first we try to simplify one side of the equal sign. The right side is already simplified, it's 180. So I'm going to look at the left side of the equal sign and see what I can simplify there. So I have a 30 and a 30. That makes 60. And I have an x and a 9x. And if I combine those together, I get 10x. So simplified it a little bit. So now I get 60 plus 10x equals 180. And now we have to get our like terms together. So I have a 60 and I have an 80. So it's a plus 60. So I'm going to subtract 60 from each side. So I'm going to start writing over here now. So I get 10x equals 180 minus 60 is 120. I'm going to divide each side by 10 because it's 10 times x. So I figure out that x equals 12. And then again, if you want to try some of these other ones, they're just different shapes, so be aware of then what it all equals. So something with like 4 sides is 360 degrees, 5 sides then is 540 and stuff like that. But let's look at some problems that are closer to what you're going to have on your homework. So ones like this, I have 3x plus 4 equals 19. So same thing, I'm going to draw a line down my equal sign, so plus 4. I'm going to do the opposite and subtract 4. So I'm left with 3x. 19 minus 4 is 15. Divide both sides by 3. Divide by 3. I find out x equals 5. And then remember, you can always go back and double check, make sure you're right. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 4 is 19. So it's always a good thing to go back and double check then. The number 2 here. Kind of the same thing. So 5z minus 13 equals negative 3. So it's a minus 13. So I'm going to add 13 to each side. So I'm left with 5z equals 10. Divide both sides by 5. We figure out z equals 10 divided by 5 is 2. I'm going to go back and plug it in. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 minus 13 is negative 3. So I know I did it correctly then. Okay. So you'll see most of the time we're looking to add or subtract first. So kind of the opposite order of operations. We're looking for the multiplying and division first. So with algebra, it's kind of the opposite order of operations. So it's plus 4, I'm looking to subtract 4 first. It was a minus 13, I'm looking to add 13 first. So your first step on most problems is going to be to add or subtract first. I'll do one here in a minute where that's not your first step. But again, that's one of very few problems. All right, number 3, I have z minus a negative 9. So this one might be a little tricky because I have a minus a negative. So if we remember from last year, minus a negative just turns into a plus. So that's really z plus 9. So that means I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. 17 minus 9 is 8. There's nothing in front of the z, so I don't have to divide anything. So z equals 8. We don't have to worry about anything after that. Here, I got something to simplify on this right side here. I have a 2 plus 4, so 6 minus d equals 15. So it's a plus 6, so I'm going to end up minusing 6 from both sides. And then I have 9 equals a negative d. So this might be a little tricky because remember, we're just solving for the variable. So we're just solving for x, we're just solving for z, we're just solving for z. This has a negative d, so we need to get rid of that negative sign. So remember, that's really like a negative 1 out in front. So that means I'm going to divide by negative 1. So 9 divided by negative 1 is negative 9. Now it equals a positive d. Okay, so just like here, we weren't done when it was 3x because we want to solve for x. Here we weren't done when it was 5z because we just want to solve for z. Here we aren't done because it's negative d. We just want to solve for d. So if you have anything in front of that variable, it needs to go away. Okay. Here I have f divided by 4, and then minus 5 equals negative 9. draw my line down the equal sign. Let me switch pen colors too. Okay, so it's a -5, so I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So I have f over 4. -9 plus 5 is a -4. So f divided by 4, the opposite of divided by 4, is times by 4. And -4 times 4 is -16. All right, number 6. This is the one problem that's an exception to the rules. And you'll see there's 10 problems on this page. 9 of them you are looking to add or subtract first. Number 6 is the one exception. When you have something that the whole thing is divided by, then we need to do multiplication first. So instead of adding 5 first, we need to multiply both sides by 3 first. So this is the one weird problem where you're not adding and subtracting first. Otherwise, everything else you're looking to add or subtract first. So 8 times 3 is 24. The 3's cancel out over there. I have a plus a -5. So in order to get rid of plus a -5, I need to add 5 to both sides. 24 plus 5 is 29. We don't need to do anything with the q because the q is by itself. It's not like a 3q or a 2q or anything like that. It's just a q, so we're good. Here, kind of the same thing. We want to get our like terms together. So 5x and 3x give us 8x. And this time it looks like we're going to end up with a decimal because 8 can't go into 28 evenly. So 28 divided by 8 is 3.5. So sometimes x is a fraction or a decimal. That's okay too. Here we got another one where we're going to have to combine like terms first. So I have 5z and 2z. So 5z minus 2z is 3z minus 4 equals -7. It's a -4, so I'm going to end up adding 4. So 3z equals -3. Again, I don't want 3z, I just want 1z, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. -3 divided by +3 is a -1. Okay, and then let's look at number 10. Number 9 is a fraction if you want to try it on your own. So I have a 9z to combine and a 4z. So 9z minus 4z is 5z. Minus 5 equals -5. Lots of 5's in this problem. Okay, I have a -5. So I'm going to end up adding 5 to both sides. So 5z equals -5 plus 5 is 0. Divide both sides by 5. 0 divided by anything is 0. So that can happen too, where sometimes 0 is your answer for a math problem. The only other kind of problems that are going to be a little more difficult are ones with parentheses. So we need to do something called distributing before we can actually do the math. So I have a 3 and a z, so I'm going to distribute. I'm going to pass out the 3 to the z and the 3 to the 7. So I'm going to end up with 3z. 3 times z is 3z. 3 times 7 is 21. And then equals 21. And now it's just like the last problems that we did. So these are a little bit harder. You have one step beforehand of distributing that number in front of the parentheses. Otherwise, it's the same thing. Plus 21, so I'm going to minus 21. 21 minus 21 is 0. So divide both sides by 3. 0 divided by 3, again, just like the last problem, is 0. Okay, we'll do one more here where we're distributing. Let's do 13, so we distribute a negative number. Okay, so here I'm not going to distribute a +3, but I'm going to distribute a -3. So I have 33 equals 12r, and then -3 times 9 is -27. -3 times -r is a +3r. Okay, so distributing the -3 to the 9 to give you a -27, the -3 to the -r to give you a +3r. And then we'll get our like terms together, so 12r and 3r. We'll run out of room here in a second. 12 plus 3 is 15r. I have 15r minus 27, so I'm going to add 27 to both sides. 27 plus 33 is 60. Equals 15r. and then divide both sides by 15. 60 divided by 15 is 4. Okay, so that'll probably be as hard as it gets right there, where you have to distribute before you start combining your like terms. So remember, distribute to the thing on the outside of the parentheses to everything inside the parentheses.